see. Hello, if you're here, welcome. Welcome to this YouTube live. I'm still getting the hang of all of this stuff. I still don't understand how to do this properly. I don't understand how to make pictures better. So those are things which I need to do with my husband. I have to get him to help me figure out how to do this. Also just realized I didn't post this on Instagram. Maybe I should do that now on my other phone. I'm so bad at YouTube lives. But if you're here, please drop a comment. Let's talk. Let me hear what's on your minds. So feel free to talk. I'm so bad at technology, honestly. Technology is just a nightmare. But anyway, I just want to come on here and say hi. I just realized my last YouTube live was 2 weeks ago. I want to try and do these every week during the weekday, just because that's when I have the childcare providers come. If they come during the week for me, they don't come on weekends, so I can do them any day during the week. So maybe you guys can suggest I just want to make sure I can see all the messages. Maybe you guys can suggest the days that you'd like me to do a YouTube live, any day from Monday to Thursday. Actually, wait, Monday, Thursday, yeah, maybe any day from Monday to Wednesday. Because I tend to get busier towards the end of the week. So yeah, you guys will let me know when you think that I should do that. But anyway, I wanted to come on here and say hello. I have ideas for these lives, maybe we can structure them through hot topics, but I thought I would start then, just while I'm waiting for people to arrive, I thought I would start with just the sort of general social media vibes right now. Social media is so repetitive and cyclical. And yes, I know I am part of social media. I'm not saying that I'm not part of it, but definitely this kind of anti luxury trend is definitely something I think that a lot of the influencers who are on social media are kind of jumping on the anti-lux trend, because it's what makes them money now. All of the influencers who said that they're over Hermes. Ashley Bryant, hello Ashley. Mondays are good. Okay, cool. Mondays work for me too, because I just have more time. I think it has to be between Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. I just have more time, at the beginning of the week, whereas towards the end of the week I get busier. Oddly enough, towards the end of the week I get busier with my work schedule and also my baby and stuff. But yeah, so I think that social media influences the whole sort of I'm giving up Hermes, I'm selling my Hermes bags. It's really all about money. Hermes doesn't allow affiliate links. Hermes is not Amazon. Louis Vuitton is not Amazon. So it makes sense that people are I'm giving up luxury, but I'm still going to link affordable things for you to buy, because I still need to make a living. And if you think about it, influencers make a living by suggesting things for us to buy. And there's nothing wrong with that. I actually think that job is actually harder than it looks. Because not everyone's tastes are different. We're all individuals. It's not as easy as it looks to be very curated and to be able to like tell people, hey guys, I think you should buy this in a way that's really believable, particularly if you're being paid for it. Like particularly if like an influencer is doing like a sponsored post or doing like a sponsored segment in a video. But I think that what's happening now is with all the turmoil that's happening in the world, and I don't even really want to get too political because I feel like there's so many things going on in the world. I don't want to focus on what's going on in the West per se, or what's happening in a certain part of the world. There's a lot of stuff going on, and I think like with everything that's kind of just percolating in the world, I think a lot of people um, they're just kind of thinking about survival and how to make money. And the way to make money is to basically tell people, okay, I'm not gonna promote my Hermes products anymore, or my Chanel anymore, or my Louis Vuitton anymore, because Chanel, Louis Vuitton, Hermes, Dior don't allow influencers to do affiliate links. Instead, what I'll do is I'll tell you, okay, I'm gonna sell all of my Hermes or sell all of my Chanel, and instead you can go shop my Amazon shop, or you can go and go shop links from H&M or from whomever. And again, I have no issue with that. I like H&M. Got some really nice jeans from them. I love ASOS. I'm always telling you guys how much I love ASOS. I wish someone would say something to me about ASOS. I love that place. I think I've said this before, but to me, fashion is not a hierarchy. It's an ecosystem. There is a place for H&M, ASOS, Zara, Mango. They have their place and they're very important, believe it or not, to Hermes, Louis Vuitton, Chanel, Dior, Ferragamo, and all the rest of it existing. I think that my issue is just the way influencers kind of handle this topic. Um, I think it's better to be more transparent and just say that in a quieter economic time where things are financially just a bit quieter, you want to post things that are more affordable to more people, because it is economically sound for you as a professional influencer to do that, versus telling people that, oh, it's about safety. I mean, if it's about safety, then why do influencers live in these massive houses? Why do people, have these like huge cars and things like that? There are a lot of influencers who are like, they live in a massive house, or they have all these other signs of wealth. So why not that? I think that is like one of the biggest things and one of the biggest themes is, at the end of the day, these are economic decisions that are being made. But I feel like if you're making an economic decision, I think that you should be more transparent about it. Let's see if there's anyone else commenting. And I think that is the problem with a lot of influencers, is that they're not being like transparent about it. It kind of reminds me of this idea of like influencers like promoting brands that they wouldn't buy because they pay them a lot of money. Like and again, there's nothing wrong with lab grown diamonds. There's nothing wrong with synthetic diamonds if that's your thing. I like natural stones, but if you like synthetic diamonds, that's absolutely fine. But there are a lot of people who promote lab grown diamonds, synthetic diamonds, but when they do unboxings of jewelry, it's like Cartier and Van Cleef. Cartier and Van Cleef do not use synthetic stones for anything, and they have said that that is not something that they're going to be doing. So sometimes it's kind of like, okay, you're promoting something that more people can afford, but really your interests lie elsewhere. So I think that what I would hope that we see like this year and in 2026 is people should march to the beat of their own drum and be your own person, whether you're an influencer, whether you're not one. Be your own person. Don't just follow the crowd. If everyone is giving up luxury, if you feel like giving up luxury is right for you, by all means. But I don't think we should like follow what people are doing, because a lot of these decisions are economic decisions. People are making them because it makes them more money to basically be like, okay, I'm going to give up on Lux now, because you can make more money promoting things that are more affordable. I just find it really interesting, because I think for influencers, it's really hard for, if you let's say someone's an influencer, right? If you're an influencer, it's harder for you to promote luxury and affordable stuff. Even for me, like I've noticed it too. Periodically, I'll show you guys things that I think that maybe I think you'll find interesting, or maybe something which you like, which isn't really high end, but I still think that you might find it interesting. I have noticed that like that doesn't go down well. Some of you like it, some of you don't, which I honestly understand, because when I watch luxury haul videos, I don't generally speaking watch like collective haul videos. So I wouldn't watch like I don't watch if someone's unboxing Zara and Hermes and Louis Vuitton. I probably wouldn't watch it all together in one video. So even me, I also have to kind of dig deep into myself. Like I'd much rather just watch the person unbox like what they got from Zara on its own. So it's a tough one, because on the one hand, I understand why, and I have done it before. I'm like, hey guys, I got this from this and this and this, but let me show you what I got from this. And yeah, some people do kind of feel like, oh, I don't want to see the thing that you got from like, a maybe a more affordable brand. So even us as an audience, we have to kind of ask ourselves, like, are we also kind of like part of the problem? Like, sometimes, particularly with like a lot of these videos and the content that's kind of being filmed right now, sometimes I wonder if we're all part of the problem. Not like having a go at anyone specifically, but are we all part of the problem? Because on the same people saying that luxury's dead and luxury's over are still watching luxury videos. So are you like part of the problem as well? So I think that's something that we should all kind of think about. So you let me know what you guys think about that one. It's a controversial, it's a controversial topic. I just have my other phone open. I just want to make sure the story went. It's a controversial topic, it gets people, I don't know, like it gets people upset, but I honestly think that a lot of this stuff is very intentional in that people are trying to survive economically. And a lot of influencers right now are not going to get away with telling people, okay, go shop for something that's really expensive. Most people, not many of you, I think, watching have different views on this. But I think fundamentally this is about self-preservation, and it's very economical. Like people are making economical, or economic, I should say, decisions in order to kind of survive this kind of quiet time. Because it definitely there is like like a massive decrease in views for luxury content on YouTube. Not on TikTok, which is really strange, because TikTok still, there's a huge appetite for luxury on TikTok. So I'm wondering, why is there this like why is there this like huge decrease with luxury like on YouTube specifically? I know that YouTube skews towards an older audience, and I include myself in it because it's my birthday this month and I'm going to be 39. Whereas what's it called? TikTok skews towards a younger audience. So I'm wondering what is that about? Because YouTube definitely, from what I can see, YouTube is definitely like the interest in luxury on YouTube has declined, but on TikTok the interest is very high. And on my website, people are still checking out my website every day. Like I still have lots of people like checking my website and stuff. So part of me wonders like what is like going on per se. Um, hmm, okay, sorry, that was my husband. Blue Egyptian Lotus. Happy birthday month. Hi. Hello, Blue Egyptian Lotus. Oh, thank you. It's at the end of the month. So anytime it's like April, I'm always I'm always very like reflective. Maybe more so than normal, just because like when it's your birthday, you're becoming a year older. So you're kind of like, okay, let me, be a little bit more reflective. But I have noticed like there has been like a decline on YouTube, definitely. But I think I know what's going on YouTube, because on TikTok, it's not the same. TikTok people are still watching unboxings and luxury haul videos. That content is still performing on TikTok. I think on YouTube, a lot of people who were coming to watch content, um, for the love of bags, says a lot of the ones that are slowing down already have big collections. Thoughts? I think they're just, yeah. I mean, I think they're just going for trends, I guess. To me, they're just all kind of following each other. None of them seem to be doing anything original. Everyone's kind of just following each other. And I think I said it at the beginning of the video, just before a few of you came in, that like the video, the live. I don't even know what I'm saying because my brain is so melted. A lot of them are just following each other because they want to make money. I think even if someone has a big collection, if you see those videos from the people who have big collections, they are very monetized collections. They're adverts every 5 minutes. There's Lily Silk every 5 minutes. There's, lab grown diamonds every 5 minutes. So I think that they're all kind of following each other because they don't want to lose the sort of financial status that they have during a quiet year. Because if you have a big collection and there's an economic depression, how do you monetize that during a quieter time? You tell people, okay, I'm over Hermes, I'm over Louis Vuitton. Here are more affordable things. NK says hello. Hello. Love you. I'm glad that you're here. Her lover bag says hi, by the way. Hello. Blue Egyptian Lotus says makes sense for us for sure. For lover bag says true. Yeah. So I think, I don't know. I'm a bit of a cynic and I'm a very cynical person. If you have a big collection, you have still spent that money anyway, whether it's a big handbag collection, whether it's a big jewelry collection, you still spent that money. But you spent that money because you had an end game, particularly if you're showing it on the internet, like on YouTube or TikTok and stuff. So I think that the ones who have big collections, they monetize those collections. They're adverts all over the time, which I have no problem with. I'm fine. I want to see what you got. I'm more interested in the things that people buy. It doesn't particularly bother me, but I think it's a little bit disingenuous to be like, okay, guys, I'm selling my stuff now. Like, I'm selling everything now because like, I'm worried about how safe I am. If you're worried about safety, go live in a shed. Don't live in a house with multiple rooms if you're worried about safety. I mean, come on, give me a break. It's nonsense. If you ask me, it's what I think. The people saying, oh, I'm worried about safety. If you're worried about safety, make your house safe, and be safe when you're on the streets. I lived in Europe. I lived in the UK for 13 years when I was studying. I only had one bad experience in 13 years. That doesn't mean that London doesn't have issues. That doesn't mean that the capital cities of the world, but all capital cities of the world have their issues, and all major cities of the world have their issues. I think the idea that someone's going to run up on you because you have like a Chanel handbag, I think, if you ask me, is very self-centered. Most people are probably not worried about Chanel bags like that, or frankly, even Hermes bags like that. I think even if you go to Paris, like, you don't see them that much. I mean, I think on my last trip, I think I saw a lady leaving Faubourg with a Crocodile Kelly, and I heard her speaking English. She wasn't French. I saw someone with like Constance at Galeries Lafayette. But really the bags that people had in Paris was like the Saddle and like Longchamp and the Goya Saint Louis. I mean, that was everywhere, So I think this kind of idea that you're not safe because of a luxury handbag, I think also shows, in my opinion, a lack of knowledge about like, if someone's like a real criminal, like what they're looking for is not your handbag. What they want is your wallet, and they probably want to like follow you on social media to see if you have really expensive things in your house. Do people get mugged? Yes, that happens. But I don't think that, I think someone who has like a Rolex is a bigger target than someone who has a Birkin or Kelly. So I think when influencers say that they're selling things because, oh, I don't feel safe, I think that's just nonsense. And I think they're saying that to make the audience feel better. That's how I see it. And if people like in terms of like, for example, in terms of like the one that everyone's talking about, like the Lydia thing, I don't find, I mean, I went to school in the English countryside. I went to a boarding school in England in the countryside. I've already seen that countryside stuff when I was very young. So I am not the target market for those videos because I went to like a school in a convent in the English countryside. So I've already done the countryside thing when I was like 11. So I'm not, that kind of content, like making bread, no, that is not exciting to me. That's not stuff I am not interested in watching someone do that. And I've talked about this before, like I'm not interested in watching someone like pour tea into mugs. That's what I call it. Like, I don't like seeing people do like mundane things, and I get really paranoid about my own videos because I'm like, when I'm in Paris or in London, I'm like, I hope this isn't boring because I can't watch people do basic things. But hey, look, everything doesn't have to appeal to me, and that's fine. I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and that is fine as well. So those are my views. You can tell me what you guys think. Hermes have released that new bag. If you've seen it on Passport, maybe you guys can tell me what you think about it. It's back in 20 with this like burgundy, like it's like a burgundy Faubourg colorway. Burgundy Faubourg. Okay. I just don't even make sense anymore when I speak. I swear, something's like happened since I had this baby. I can't even speak anymore. It just sounds like gibberish. My husband came in and I told him I was coming on live. He told me something, which now he's left the house because it's just gone and popped out. I mean, it makes complete sense now when I hear it, but when you say it to me, I didn't even know what you were saying. So what I'm saying is, what do you guys think of the back in 20, the new one that is on Purse Bob? It's like a burgundy dark cherry colorway. It looks like like a dark cherry burgundy Faubourg house bag. It's the new house bag. One of you told me you just call it the house bag, which I think is so funny. And I just want to call them house bags now. Moving on. What do you guys think about it? I agree. There had to be more than safety for Lydia to sell her collection. I mean, she's doing it to make money. I don't. She lives in the countryside. The English countryside is perfectly safe. Literally, I went to boarding school at a convent in the English countryside in a tiny, tiny village, much smaller than where her and her husband live. It's absolutely tiny. That's completely safe. So I don't think it's safety. I think it's just business, just wants to make money. If there's a global economic depression or a global economic kind of downturn, I don't know. I don't necessarily believe it's not 2008. Sometimes I feel like this talk of recessions, finance YouTubers have said that when they say there is a recession happening, they get more views than when they're trying to be more positive about things. So if you kind of buy into something being down or things being quiet, it kind of feeds into it. Whereas we have to look at the economic data. But definitely there is a slowdown, of course, for sure. And we can all see it. There's a slowdown. But that doesn't mean that people aren't at the store, they're not traveling, or they're not shopping and stuff. I think in her case, she has her own line. Well, not a line. I think she said she has like a handbag coming out with Mulberry. Mulberry is definitely priced in the sort of Coach range of pricing, right? So it's priced, it's a contemporary brand, it's not a luxury brand. It's not a luxury brand, it's priced as a contemporary brand. So yeah, it's going to be hard to convince the people, hey guys, go buy my 200-pound Mulberry bag or 150-pound Mulberry bag or whatever the price is. But I have like a 8,000-pound Mini Kelly or whatever. So I guess for her, it makes sense. And I don't actually really care like what she is doing per se. I was more interested in the reaction I was more interested in what people thought about it, because to me it was just really interesting, because I think it's just, for her, it's just a business decision. And even for her, as far as I'm aware, a lot of her bags are not from the store. So, you can just, flip them and move on and go buy something else. And I'm sure when things settle down, she'll be back shopping. Went to San Francisco Saturday around noon and it was empty. Yeah. But I guess, a brand like Hermes is, Hermes, I think I said this in one of my videos, like, the luxury girls are not supermarkets. So they don't really need to be like super busy, You know what I mean? Like, it's a high-end store with troll furniture that they sell for like 100,000 USD or 100,000 euros. So like they can make all their money like 2 days in a week and the store can just be empty. I'm in this like group for people who like playing cards and blackjack and things like that. It's on Facebook, and people like games, like board games and casino games. And someone was saying that the boutiques in Las Vegas even if no one came to Las Vegas to see Bruno Mars or to see artists or to see or go to there for conferences, they could exist just off the people who gamble in the casinos. That's how much money is being spent in those stores. So while, yeah, I think they probably are emptier now more than normal. Their economics are completely different from like a massive like supermarket type of business. I'm not that familiar with American stores, but I would say like a Walmart business requires people to be in the store every day, whereas Hermes, Louis Vuitton, Chanel, particularly in like a hotspot city, they could just exist off very few people every week. NK says noon is also lunchtime. I've been to Hermes San Francisco Saturdays, mid to late afternoon is packed. Yeah, I mean it's neither here nor there because they just I mean, Hermes is going to make money regardless. So let's start there. Okay. And Hermes is always in drama. The girls are always in drama. They don't care. They don't care. They're going to make money regardless. They can just exist they could literally exist. I mean, that's crazy. If you think about the boutiques in Las Vegas of Hermes, Chanel, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, all of the girls, all of them that are there, they could, even excluding everyone who goes to Las Vegas to go to like conferences, to go to party. Many people don't go to Vegas to gamble anymore. That's what people were saying in that group. But the people who go there to gamble, they could just exist off those people. That's not even including people who live in Las Vegas and are like residents of the city. So that just shows you like how much money that, these stores make. So I think that's also something to put into perspective. I think particularly with YouTube and with content creation, influencers are very front facing, particularly these people who do it as like a full-time job. So you might be like, well, not you guys in the chat, I'm just saying the general you might watch a video and be like, wow, influencers are giving up the stuff that they're giving up handbags or giving up all this stuff. I mean, influencers are not even spending 1% of what the top spenders in every market spend at the store for any of the brands, Like if you think of like is Lydia VIP at Big H in London? I feel like if she was a VIP, we would know that, and she'd be going to events, and she'd let us know that she was one. There are people who just spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, euros, pounds every year, month, a day, etc. And yes, I shop during the weekdays, random times on Wednesday, Friday, and VVIP and double VIP shop during private shopping events. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's like. It's like, it was just so funny in that group where people were like, oh, those stores in Las Vegas look really empty. And someone was like, they literally can exist off people who just go and play cards in the casinos. That's not even including people who are visiting the city because they're excited to go there. So I think that, you need to kind of look at that. But of course, yes, there is like an economic, like this is definitely a quiet time economically, but we're not going to know if right now is affecting the girls until like the results come, not these results that are coming. I think there's another quarter of results that are coming. We need to wait for the results for Q3. I think that's what's going to tell us these second quarter results that are going to be due soon. I don't think I'm going to tell the full story. I think by Q3 we'll know what's going on, and we'll be able to say if it's like a hardcore like luxury recession or whatever. So I think we need to wait until Q3, and then Chanel released their results in June for the previous year, and then we'll see how they did, which I'm sure, they did well. And then even then, like, look at the Murakami collection. Did I say that properly? Because I can't speak anymore. Look at the Murakami collection. That was so successful for Louis Vuitton. And I think I said this in a previous video. They should like bring him back, but this time to like make something original for the girls. Like not rehashing or reissuing your current IP. Like go and make something original for us, and you do it this time. Because clearly that was like a winning ticket. Because that is like the cash cow. It literally has just been printing money, and the third drop, is coming. And then also, I'll be going to Europe this summer, so I'll definitely keep an eye open. I think we're going to a bunch of cities this time. I don't know. I'll let you guys know once I'm there, but I'll definitely I'll be able to like really observe. But I mean, in October, there were still people milling around, and there were definitely like people who had come back from like China and Japan. So we'll see like what will happen also with like Asian tourists who go to like Europe to shop and Asian tourists who come to the US to shop. We'll see if their spending picks up as well. So I think, I don't know. I don't want to sound like, oh, I'm special, I'm different, and all of this, but I feel like a lot of people online make their living through this stuff, right? If you make your living through something and you can't link a $10,000, $11,000 back in 25 from Hermes, you are more inclined to be like, hey guys, go buy the dupes on Amazon. I don't agree with dupes, guys. You know my feelings on dupes. I don't agree. I'm against them. But this kind of explains to you why a lot of influencers have these feelings, and like I said about the whole thing about the whole ideal jewelry stuff, or that I didn't think I had mentioned Ideal, but it's really Ideal who are like the main synthetic diamond jeweler that a lot of influencers promote. I have nothing against Ideal, but people promote synthetic diamonds because they get paid to promote synthetic diamonds. But when they're doing a luxury unboxing, they are unboxing Cartier, they're unboxing Van Cleef, they're unboxing Graf, they're unboxing Chopard, all of whom do not use synthetic diamonds. So it's just something for us that I think we just need to kind of think on. In a quiet year, should you buy luxury? Yes or no? Should you post luxury? Yes or no? I've said this before, I'll say it again. You not posting your luxury stuff or not buying high-end stuff does not end all the dramas in the world that are going on right now. Someone had posted something on TikTok, like a repost from Twitter, which I thought was so funny. And it was like, I don't know if you guys are into alien or sci-fi movies. I love the whole alien invasion, sci-fi drama. Name any massive alien film. I have seen it. I have thought about what it means. I've thought about what it means in terms of God and all of this stuff. But it was like, and like in The Simpsons, you have Kang and Kodos, the two aliens, they're siblings, I think, the two aliens who like look at Springfield from their ship. And it was Kang and Kodos like, we're not invading the planet, like the Earth is melting down. And you can see like where the person is going with this, because there's so much stuff going on in the world right now. So you not buying something is not going to stop the world from melting down. It's not going to stop the 10,000, things that are going on in the world right now that are very intense. Like I said, I don't even want to get into politics because it's just so stressful to talk about. And when I come on here, I want to escape all the stuff I'm seeing on the news. I don't want to come on here and talk about the news because I'm already stressed out by it. So I think this whole idea of influencers trying to be more relatable, I find that more irritating than you showing us what you've got. I think this is why I've said I've really been enjoying watching influencers and creators from Asia because I just find their approach more refreshing. Like lately, I've been watching a lot of creators from, just want to make sure the messages are coming in. Lately, I've been watching a lot of creators from like Japan, Korea, and China, but who upload from like Hong Kong or Macau. I've also been watching creators from Taiwan. I just wait for YouTube to recommend the video and then I click and watch it and I turn on subtitles. A lot of the times those influencers have graciously written their own subtitles, not relying on AI, which is what I do periodically. I'll like add my own subtitles every now and then. And I've been having way more fun watching their videos because they're very transparent, particularly the ones who talk about Hermes. They're super transparent about spending. They keep it very honest. And if they're shopping other brands, they'll be very transparent about like, oh yeah, I went to this store and I bought this and this and this and this. I think that's a much more refreshing way to look at luxury in a quiet year versus trying to like be relatable to the people watching you because you don't know who's watching. You don't know like who's watching at all. Ballet dancer, hey, hello to Haya in the chat. Hello, glad you're here. So you don't know who's watching. You don't know like someone's like financial situation of the people who are watching. So sometimes I find influencers can be really patronizing with the way they talk about this topic. Like, I think I'm going to sell my bags. So I'm going to sell all of my like luxury goods because, we're going through a tough time and I want to read the room. I mean, I mean that's relative. They're always tough times. This is planet Earth. There's like 5,000 things going on in the world right now. You not buying something from Cartier is not going to stop all the tough, horrible, tough things that are happening in our world right now. It's better for people to live the life that they want, and just live their lives the way they want. If people want to give up their big H bags, big C bags, you go do that. I will not be watching you make bread. Okay. No, thank you. Like I'm not. No. Ballet dancer says, please, yes. Oh my God. And I always forget to ask you guys this. Please hit the like button to support the channel. Please, please, seriously. Because honestly, I need people to see my channel right now. My channel is, yeah. And even with me, like I took a break for like 7 months because I was pregnant. And YouTube was like, you're suppressing your channel now. Okay. So yes, please like the video. For the lover back says, I agree, it comes off disingenuous. Yeah, it is. It's very disingenuous. Like, okay, you're selling your big H bags in Lydia's case, but you're showing people how to make bread. Most people are working really intense full-time jobs. They do not have the time to like make bread. People, go to the supermarket to buy bread, and that's fine. Okay. So one may argue, is there some privilege there? I think people should post the things that they're passionate and excited about. So by all means, she should do that. But I think it's better to just not try so hard to be relatable. I think I find it more cringe when influencers and people in the spotlight are trying really hard to relate to their audience. You don't know what people are going through. Some people might be going through a tough time in their personal life and they tune in to watch influencers and YouTubers because they need a break from the stuff going on in their personal life. I can't imagine how irritating that would be to like tune into someone's content and they're trying so hard, to like relate to you and to relate to your life. It's kind of like the whole idea that Hermes bags are really, common. And this is something which I wanted to talk about. So maybe I can do it in this video. But this idea that's been floating around, I think by a few influencers have said like, oh, everyone has them now. Who's everyone? I mean, even like I've just told you, even in Paris, I've been going to Paris for years. I mean, outside of the 8th arrondissement, like close to Faubourg, you don't see these bags with people walking around with them. You see the Saint Louis from Goya, you see Louis Vuitton bags, the Pont Neuf. I saw that bag a lot on my previous trips as well. You see Dior bags, like the Saddle and the Lady Dior and stuff. And that's like outside of the 8th arrondissement where a lot of the flagships are. So this idea that like, oh, these bags are really common. I mean, so what if they're really common? I don't really understand this idea of like, something which I don't understand that a lot of influencers do is they'll be like, oh, everyone has this now. Well, what's wrong with everyone having it? And who's everyone? Because most people don't have the money to just go and spend like $10,000 on a handbag. A lot of people don't have money to spend even $1,000, $2,000 like buying, fashion and designer clothes and jewelry and perfumes and stuff like that. So I think sometimes like, I think that point of view is really distasteful because what it's saying is that the influencer wants to kind of be on a pedestal above her audience and be like, well, I have these really expensive things and you don't. Well, I mean, I don't know. It's just, I think that we're in a really interesting time. It's a strange time, but there are a lot of new releases. The brands are still revealing a ton of new stuff. So I thought we could talk about some of the new stuff. Just 3 things, which I think I've already mentioned. The cherry red Faubourg Birkin 20. If you guys like that, Louis Vuitton have these new Capucines. I think I featured one in my new video. Did I? Yeah, no, I didn't. I posted it on Instagram. I did. Okay. It's new. It's really pretty. It has this like gold chain on it. The one I posted in my video is like this purple. It's like this pink with a purple undertone. The color in French is called Gris Mauve. It's really beautiful. That also comes in black and it also comes in navy because I saw that they had posted it. And then Chopard also have like lots of new jewelry as well. LV released some new SLGs. Yes, there's some new SLGs as well. There's a lot of new stuff. So there's so much stuff for us to be busy like discussing. Cartier have a lot of new stuff as well. Van Cleef and Arpels have lots of new jewelry that they've released. Some of you are telling me that they are exclusives, I think, to one part of the world, but I still, think it's worth it. So I guess what I'm saying is like there's still so much to discover, and I still think it's fun and interesting for us to discuss these things if the interest is still there, and if people still want to discuss it. I just find it really insincere when people who have spent like a lot of money buying super expensive things are trying really hard to be relatable. Like, don't do that. That's super annoying. I think I've said this before, but like, I live in a developing country. I'm kind of living my own life here. I don't relate to many people. I don't need to relate to you in order to like you and to think that your point of view or your opinion, whether you're an influencer or not, has value. This idea that you have to relate to someone it's really irritating and annoying. I have to say, it annoys me really, really bad. Ballet Dancer says the dark chocolate and white chocolate bag charms. Oh, yes. And in fact, let me pull them up on my phone. I'll pull it up. I think those are on the men's collection. They are just sensational, aren't they? How much are they in dollars? Aren't they $1,000? Let me see if they're on the European website. I don't think I saw it on the European website, but I might have to just look super quick. So you guys can let me know if there's anything else you think that we should talk about, anything else that's interesting to you guys. Ballet says 695 here in the US. Okay, cool. Let me see how much they are in Europe. They're very cute. This is the international website. Ballet says the donut sold out twice already. That's my favorite one. That's the one that I like the most. I'm even thinking like the things I want to like look for this summer. Okay, cool. So you said the donut one's already sold out. Just pull it up. And I think something else, which I think is like worth mentioning, particularly, is it called a bag charm? Okay. I think something else that's like worth mentioning is that Nazia says hello. I think that there is this kind of sense that people don't want to be left behind as well. So if there's like a trend where everyone is kind of following the trend, and like I think we've seen this with like the popularity, for example, with these bag charms and stuff. I think that like one of the things which I just wanted to mention here, sorry, I was just doing something, is if you think about like trends on the internet, things have to become a trend so that they get picked up by algorithms, right? So if we didn't have YouTube and you didn't have Instagram, you didn't have Facebook and TikTok and stuff, a lot of this stuff wouldn't be something that people are discussing. I think that is why. I think that's why. I think a lot of this stuff is very insincere. 955 USD. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because they're in the men's collection. Okay, hang on, wait. 955 for the chocolate bar, for the donut. The chocolate bar is 570 euros in Europe. The donut has to be more than that. If I was getting one of these, I would use it as like a key holder because I think it's just so cute. The donut is 780. It's so cute. I think this would be really cute, like to put the key fob to your car or something. The donut's 955. Okay, US dollars. Okay, in Europe it's 780 euros. Yeah, so I think, I think just in general, if we didn't have social media, you wouldn't have these kind of like, you wouldn't have these like hype, like the hype that's like surrounding this discussion. And a lot of people don't want to be left behind. So if everyone is like giving up luxury, people want to feel like, okay, I'm part of it too, so I'm going to give it up too, instead of thinking like, okay, am I interested in giving it up? Because I think if you're happy giving it up and you're no longer interested, that's fine. What I find annoying is when people are like, okay, I'm done with luxury brands, and then a few months later you see them buying stuff or unboxing new things. It's like, okay, but you said you said you were over it. I love those charms. They're very cute. And even with Louis Vuitton, I mean, Louis Vuitton have so many new releases, and even the releases that I posted, that's just like a few pieces that I had posted. That's not even like everything that they have right now. Ballet says, I agree with you, just like quiet luxury. Yeah, exactly. I mean, even the quiet luxury trend, it was just like everyone just like jumping on the bandwagon of quiet luxury. Um, Quiet luxury, but from Amazon. Quiet luxury, but Shein. How? You know? I think that there's this really strange like idea that people have of feeling superior to others. There was a really weird comment that I saw on a YouTuber's page. Um, and it was about like people who buy luxury goods in general, like people who buy from branded companies and stuff like that. So the person was talking about basically was essentially talking about all of us. Um, and the person was basically saying like anytime that person sees someone wearing like designer clothes that are branded or a luxury handbag that's branded or designer jewelry that's branded, like, oh, I think that person's like stupid and like, poor, the same, the typical stuff. They weren't even talking about logos. They were saying about anyone who buys anything that's branded. So I just like responded to the person. I was just like, but you're like sitting there in judgment of people who are buying things that they want with their money. Like, so like I think that there are a lot of people who feel really intimidated by the financial undercurrent of this discussion. If you can't afford to buy high-end clothing, but you're curious about high-end clothing, it's easier for you to kind of be like, well, I wouldn't buy designer clothes anyway because I wouldn't buy something that's like really expensive. I can go buy this for this and this. Okay, but if you're not going to buy it, like, why does that affect you? Why does that bother you? For the love back says, no, I didn't buy into quiet luxury. Yeah, the quiet luxury thing was just, I mean, it's the trend is pretty much died now. I mean, it's over. And if you there was a really good point that someone made on TikTok. They were like, quiet luxury is just another excuse for brands to be uninspired with the way they design things. It's one thing to be a minimalist brand, because I think there are a lot of great minimalist brands out there that are making amazing minimalist clothing. I would say like minimalist brands that I like as someone who is a maximalist: Alaya, Ferragamo, Totem, really like Totem, Kate, and Max Mara. They're doing some really interesting things with minimalism, all of those brands. Like, it's interesting, it's interesting. There's texture, that they play with patterns even if they don't use a ton of color. Sorry. So I think that what happens, particularly with YouTube, the way Google has set up YouTube's algorithm is very repetitive. um I know some of you have told me that you feel like all luxury vloggers do is talk about the same thing. And the problem with that is that it's very repetitive because it wants to promote similar videos all of the time, particularly when the YouTube algorithm sees like one of your videos doing really well. It wants you just to like talk about similar stuff all of the time. So if you also think about it, it like I said, there are cynical reasons why luxury YouTube and luxury influencers in general are invested now in kind of the death of luxury. Luxury is not dead. Luxury is alive and kicking. The luxury girls will make a ton of money this quarter because it's like 1% of people are on YouTube and Instagram and TikTok engaging in luxury stuff. There are people who shop at brands and don't have social media. Ballet Dancer says there are too many pocket watches out here. Yeah, exactly. There are too many pocket watches. And I think the problem with pocket watching, and again, I'm spending a lot of time on TikTok these days. I think I'm spending more time on TikTok than I am on YouTube, but just like commenting on other people's videos. And the amount of pocket watching is like insane. Like people really do make a lot of judgments based on the car you drive, the clothes that you wear, the jewelry you have, and the handbags that you have. And I think that there's like a focus too much on handbags as well, because if you look at the discussion, like people are very interested in the types of people who buy brands, and they also want to make judgments about someone's finances. So like that person who left that comment was like, people who buy like Cartier and YSL, or people who buy like Hermes and Chanel and stuff, I just think, oh, they must have a ton of debt, in order to afford these things. And I'm just thinking like the amount of money you need to have like a credit card with a massive limit in order to shop at Hermes is like, you literally cannot be in debt to shop at a brand like that. Like the economics don't even make sense. Full Loveback says YouTubers pocket watch too. They always make sure to tell us they're not in debt to buy, as if we can't be responsible too. Not my business if someone charges it. Yeah, it to me, as long as you are not stealing money from someone or ripping someone off, I don't care about that either. My only thing is that I think that if you're a YouTuber and you're unboxing things on the internet and any luxury good, you should be able to answer a simple question about what you do for a living if you're asked the question. So for example, again, because I'm spending a lot of time on TikTok, but also spending time here, if someone's doing a big unboxing, you're always accruing new followers and new supporters. There are people who I've been posting consistently since 2019. There are people who've just discovered me this year and have been watching YouTube videos since 2019. For Love Bike says, yes, you didn't buy with saving coffee money. Yeah, you didn't. So you didn't buy with saving coffee money. Exactly. So why not just answer the question? Why be so like, why is there so much like secrecy around being that? For example, if you're a doctor, just say you're a doctor. You don't have to say what hospital you're a doctor in. If you're a dentist, say you're a dentist. You don't have to tell us where you practice. You don't have to tell us what kind of dentist you are. If you work in finance, you don't even have to say what kind of banker you are, but you should be able to answer the question. If your husband is financially supporting you, or your boyfriend financially supports you, just say that. Just say, my dude is generous. Make it sound a little bit more playful than that. And in fact, that content really performs. If your boyfriend or husband is the one who is buying you all these things, trust me, you'll get more views than the girls who are paying for it themselves. Trust. Okay? Just answer the question. Answer the question. That's the only thing that I find a little bit annoying. So I don't want to watch your channel if you don't want to I need to feel connected to you. I don't just want to watch someone opening boxes all day. I want to feel like a little bit connected to you. So you have to be able to answer some basic questions. Ballet Dancer says, one of my favorite things is wealthy people don't buy those things. And that's one of my favorites as well. There's this one like finance YouTube video that came up once, and they were discussing luxury, and you could tell that none of these people had any like exposure to any luxury brand. And one of them was like, really rich people, don't buy these things. I'm like, again, I want someone to explain to me how Louis Vuitton makes 20 billion euros a year from people who don't have any money. Like, just explain to me how she makes that money. If the moment these people, and anytime you like let them know, they're just like, they're just like, no, that's not true. They can't, because I'm like, okay, but like, how does Louis Vuitton make 20 billion euros a year if people don't have any money? Like, just because remember, the person's poor, they don't have money. So sometimes like you can't reason with these people. So I generally don't like interact in those discussions because it's just such a waste of time. Because I'm just like, you don't even know what you're talking about. You're filming a video about luxury. I commented on one person's video to only say something once, which was find people who like luxury and who are willing to debate it with you. I think I'd be willing to debate some of these people because it's like, you're not even researching the topic. Like if you don't like something, how can you sit there and critique it? You don't know people's financial situations. You have no idea what people can afford. You have no idea the kind of life that people lead. And luxury is not just like branded items. They're people who live very well, like multiple cars and, like really big houses, nannies, and they can travel and do all kinds of things. So luxury is a very expansive concept. And even with me is like, just like having had my first child recently, there's a lot of judgment like around women who have like housekeepers and women who have nannies, of both of which I have, of course. And it's like, what's the point of having funds if you're not going to use them in a way that benefits and services you? For the health bag says, I think they do. Yeah, they do. I mean, again, like how is how is Big H making this money? How does Louis Vuitton sell out Murakami if people don't have any money? You can't buy. You cannot buy it on credit. You can't. It's too much money. Ballet dancers laughing. Yeah. So these people. Which is amazing. Having a nanny and housekeeper is a dream. Yeah, it's a dream. Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, God, I don't even want to imagine my life without them. It's very hard. Trust me. They don't come on the weekend and it's hard work. I'm like, well, this is hard. Ballet dancer, thank you. And Kes says exactly. I mean, yeah, exactly. So it's like, I want us to have like, and this is what I always say, like whenever I'm like debating these people on TikTok or in comments, honestly, I think I'm posting like 2 videos a week now, sometimes 1 video a week, but I spend most of my time debating these people, like my free time. If I'm just like with him and he's awake and it's nighttime, I'm like scrolling my phone. Okay. And there's someone who's just saying something stupid. And I'm like, I'm going to be debating these people in comments because once you pull their card and like challenge their point of view, I'm like, okay, but Hermes made like is going to make like $12 billion this year. Can you explain to me how you can spend that money if you do not have any money? Don't forget, you can't get credit unless you have money. So I'm going to need the credit card excuse to be put away. And then you have to pay off your credit card so that you can have a higher credit limit. I mean, these people, you can't reason with these people. You just can't reason with them. You can't, So it's like the whole thing that everyone's saying on TikTok, like all the brands are made in China. The whole thing about made in China, that's not a problem. Like if let's say, for example, that's true, which I don't think all of it's true. All the brands, if they're made in China, that is not an issue that something is made in China. The issue is brands being honest about where things are made, and critically, brands being honest about provenance. Ballet says, I was just about to mention that. Right, exactly. So people are like, oh, everything's made in China. Well, that's just not true. Like in Europe, brands are not allowed to lie about how things are made. Yes, of course, we've heard that thing that they'll assemble some parts and then they'll send it back to France or to Italy, for it to say made in Italy, made in France. But that's literally not true from certain brands. I don't know about every single brand in the world. I haven't done an audit of every brand in the world. We know for a fact that Hermes has workshops in France. They are artisans in France. We know how much they're paid. You can find the job adverts there. We've heard of how artisans, takes them I think a Birkin takes, I think a Kelly takes longer to make than a Birkin, something like that. I don't remember exactly. It takes about a day to make each bag. We've heard that if they make a picnic and they, fuck up the wicker or whatever, they have to throw it away. Same thing with Louis Vuitton. We know that they have an exotics atelier, which is in France. The crocodilian exotics for Louis Vuitton are made in France. The ostrich exotics are made in an atelier in Italy. Same thing with Fendi. They have a fur atelier in Rome where they make the custom coats for their clients. So at a certain point, it's like, guys, if you want to feel better about it, you can go with whatever thing you want. And yes, there are a lot of brands that are made in China, but I don't think there's anything wrong with something being made in China. So I don't really understand why everyone is so scandalized about it. It shouldn't matter where it's made. What should matter is the skill that is being used to make said item. You know, that's how I kind of feel about the whole, like, everyone's like, oh my God, it's all made in China. There are a lot of great products that are made in China, and that I think are fantastic. So, and I have no issue with that. What I have an issue is with the way people are so like the people who are like really excited that something's made in China, we're not going to buy the product anyway. If you're, you know, to me, this kind of reminds me of the debate of the way people are like, one of my pet peeves that people do in the luxury debate or luxury topics. I hope I said that right again, because my brain is melting. I can't speak anymore. One of my pet peeves that people do is something like this. You see this every time Chanel increases prices. Someone will be like, you know what? You know, I can afford to buy this, but I'm not going to buy it because I'm no longer going to be partaking. You don't need to announce that you're not buying something. Trust me. Number one, the brands do not care. There will be someone else in another part of the world who doesn't have social media, okay, who will buy that product. You know, if something's too expensive for you, that's fine. Of course, we can like, you know, talk about it. But I really detest when people have to let us know that they can afford to buy something. It just really annoys me when someone's like, you know, I can afford this, but I'm not going to buy it because it's this and this. It's the same thing with the VCA drama. A lot of people were saying, oh, after what happened to the TikToker, they're not going to go to Van Cleef. I'm sorry. I march to the beat of my own drum. If I want to go to Van Cleef and Arpels to check it out, I'm going to do that. I'm not going to rely on a secondhand experience from someone that I was not there and I didn't like experience it firsthand. Now, the only exception for that would be like a racist, xenophobic experience. If someone's sharing like to me, that is my bar. My bar for these brands is very high. If you racially abuse me, you treat me badly racially in a store, I'm never going to give you my money again. I'm a simple person. But all this other stuff, a lot of it is perspective. You know, what else do people want the girls to do? What else do you want from these people? You said the bracelet was tarnished. Van Cleef said it wasn't tarnished. You know what I mean? But that was your experience at one boutique. That does not tarnish the... See what I did there? That doesn't tarnish the brand for me. The only exception would be a racist experience. Okay? But I'm not a follower. I march the beat of my own drum. I'm going to go and check things out for myself. Life of Destiny says true. Hello. For Love of Bags says 100%. Ballet Dance says, I was just about to mention that. Life of Destiny says, I'm still going to buy it. Yeah, people should still go and check things out for themselves, with exception of really serious things. Like if someone's like racially abused and treated really badly and there's proof, like that is horrific and we don't support that. But like things like not being treated well, so much of that is based on facial expressions, nuance, your ability to see, to read social situations. There are a lot of people who are socially awkward and don't know how to handle social situations. So with that VCA thing, I'm like, I'm gonna give the brand that's more than 100, that's more than 120 years old, some. I'm gonna cut them some slack and see what they do next, because we rarely hear about them. Ballet Dancer says, you didn't offer me a glass of champagne. That's what it's giving. That's what it's giving from a lot of these videos lately. Especially in the Van Cleef, story. It's like that bracelet's like $6,000. I mean, $6,000 is a lot of money, but like at VCA, $6,000 is like just putting the lights on. So like, the reality is, luxury is not meant to be like normal shopping. And I think that's something which we I think should discuss. But I think that's something which a lot of people don't accept. And not you guys, I'm just saying a lot of people don't accept that. Luxury is not like normal shopping. You have to approach it differently. It's not like you're going into a normal shop. to buy stuff. You're not, there's a level of service that you expect, but also you yourself. I don't know if you guys saw this video, but one of you guys sent it to me. You're just gonna have to go search it up on TikTok. If you put 777 Ralph Lauren, the video will come up. But it was like a fashion student in New York who went to the Ralph Lauren flagship, I think in Manhattan, and she asked if she was allowed to try on a dress. And she asked if she was allowed to try it on. It was like a $7,000 dress, and I think her sister wanted to try on like a corset, which was like $3,000. The essay was like, are you purchasing? I think the essay said, are you purchasing to shop? She meant to say, are you shopping to purchase? But basically asking them like, are you going to buy it today? And they were like, no, I just want to try it on. And the essay said no. And then the fashion student had like videotaped the whole thing. And basically she was saying like that she felt like she was treated really badly. You should not be going into a standalone flagship store to ask to try something on if you are not buying it. At the minimum, you should be thinking about buying it. And Kay says, the luxury community is in a weird place right now. Many people with insecurities airing them out on social media for likes. Yeah, I agree. Well said. You said it better than me. It is giving insecure. It's giving insecure, definitely. You're like, okay, this is how I go viral. For love of bags, time wasters, right? So then in the comments, people were saying she's a fashion student, and often professors at the fashion schools will tell their like students go into a luxury store and ask and look around and for a project or something. But I remember this at Moschino. I remember the Moschino essay in Paris that I'd spoken to was saying that they get a lot of students who do that. But in a situation like that, you're better off telling the essay like, hey, I'm a fashion student from, the Fashion Institute in Manhattan or from Central St. Martin's, and I'd like to look around. They're more than happy to, help you as a fashion student. But I think it's really annoying for you to basically masquerade as like a paying customer and to ask to try on really expensive things. The woman's job was not to try on super expensive things. They were told to go and look at the store. She wanted to try on the garments and you were told no. Now, obviously, a customer who's paying isn't going to ask an essay, am I allowed to try something on? You're going to say, hey, that dress, I want to try it on. Can you take it to the fitting room? And of course, they'll indulge you. But whether people like it or not, the way you appear in stores matters. The way you turn up to stores does matter. They looked like fashion students, which they were. The essay made a judgment that they were not buying today. She did not buy today. The essay made a judgment they are not buying next week because they're not buying anything. So I'm sorry, she just did her job. Her lover back says, exactly, explain that. Right. And like I said, Moschino gets a lot of these students. They get a lot of them coming into the store to learn about Franco Moschino's life. Tell the essay you are a student. Do not waste people's time. People are working. Ballet dancer says LV is fast fashion now. Yeah, that's another one. LV is fast fashion. Where? If it's fast fashion, you should be able to buy it all. Can everyone buy all the new Capucines that they're creating every month? Like I think the new one that I featured in my video, I saw the dollar price was just posted on an Instagram page. And it's like 7,000 USD. It's like 5,900 euros, but it's like 7,000 USD. So I think, in the example of that one, it's like you have no business going to a store to ask to try on a $7,000 dress that you have zero intention of purchasing. You have zero intention of buying it. Let's just check something here. I think it's fine to go to stores to try things on, even if you don't pull the trigger. But I think you should be honest and you should mean to purchase something. At the very least, from my experiences, I've said, I think if you try things on at department stores, they're just much nicer about you trying it on, even if you have no intention of buying. Like when I was at Galerie Lafayette last time, the Max Mara concession and Burberry concessions are close to each other. I was looking at one of the coats and she's like, oh, do you want to try on one of the coats? I was like, oh, really? Can I try it on? And she's like, yeah, you can try anything on here, anything on. She didn't ask me if I was buying today, but that's the Max Mara concession at Galerie Lafayette. Gary Lafayette probably makes like €1 million a day. There's so many people milling around. Like, so it doesn't affect the SA if you just try something on that you're not buying, because it's in a very highly trafficked department store, right? Whereas this is like a standalone flagship store where every person who enters the boutique, the SAs have to make sure they convert that person to buy. So then if you're like, okay, but like, can I try it on? No, you can't try it on. If I was working there, I'd be like, girl, I'll definitely get sacked. Because I'd be like, you absolutely cannot. I'd be like, are you buying today? Oh, I was like, can I try it on? Would you like to buy it today? Ballet says, leaving deodorant stains on an expensive dress. Oh no, exactly. And there are some, points about this. That's a really good point. Like staining the clothes. I think that there are a lot of people that don't understand that the stuff that you try on gets sold to someone else. So if you're like going into like Ralph Lauren or Oscar de la Renta or Elie Saab, Elie Saab have a boutique on the Avenue George Cinq, very close to Big H in Paris. I think it's like next to the Four Seasons on the Avenue George Cinq. Elie Saab is known for those really beautiful, stunning dresses. Do not go in there if you're not planning to buy anything. That would be so bad to like try on really expensive ready to wear. That's basically couture. Like his ready to wear is basically couture, pretty much. And then you're like perspiring all over these really expensive, beautiful garments that people have worked really hard to make. No. Okay. I watched the video and I was like, oh hell no, you did not do that. If I was the essay, I'd be like, you absolutely are not trying that on unless you're buying it today. And some people were like, it shouldn't matter whether she was buying it or not. I'm like, it absolutely matters. I mean, it does. I feel like if you have the intention to buy it. So for example, like in my case, for example, I wear 2 different sizes. Like before I had a baby, I was wearing 2 different sizes. After having a baby, I'm wearing 2 different sizes as well, on the top and the bottom. So like for example, at a luxury store, I can buy a top from a luxury brand in the Italian 46 size without having to try it on, because I've already understood what my size is at a luxury brand. So at Moschino, at Versace, I know that I'm a 46 Italian for tops. Whereas a dress, I would need to try it on, but I would need to be very intentional and sure that I was interested in purchasing it. I wouldn't like go to Gucci and try on like 5 dresses and not buy something. Now, there are some caveats. As a person of color, like we are judged really harshly in luxury stores. So I don't want to like create a situation where like it could be potentially uncomfortable for me. So that is something that's also that is something that's also kind of in the back of my mind. But at the same time, like I said, the Max Mara concession at Gary Lafayette, she was like, oh yeah, just like try it on, it's fine. Because for them, it's like, there's so many people coming to Gary Lafayette. The traffic of people is so high. Like I'll try on a coat and not buy it, but 5 minutes later, someone will pass by and buy like 3 teddy coats. So I think it's just something like for us all to kind of be like aware of. I do think that there is like an etiquette. And on this video, there was like discussion of this video on another like page that one of you had sent me. Also, the costume jewelry debate. Ooh, the costume jewelry debate. Okay, in what sense? I think the thing I don't get about the costume jewelry debate, this is the only thing I don't understand, is like people should buy the jewelry that they want to buy. Again, I have no issue with what kind of jewelry you like. Balladon says, I advise people to check out the fine jewelry collection with Chanel V. And thank you for saying that, because I was actually looking at the Coco Crush collection yesterday. And the Bloom, is that what it's called? What is that collection called? I forgot the name of the collection. There's that really beautiful collection at Louis Vuitton's fine jewelry. That's really, really pretty. The name escapes me right now, but yeah, they have really beautiful things. I think I don't agree that you should only buy jewelry from like a fine jeweler. The same way I think Cartier should be allowed to expand into handbags. I think they should be allowed to expand into any products that they wish to sell. Just buy the things that you like. But I don't, yeah, okay. For Love of Bag says, agree, buy what you like. But Baladon says, people complain just to complain. Yeah, particularly lately, people are very moany and very whingy and complaining, and it is getting very complainly late. Like it's getting very complainly, complaining lately, and people are complaining a lot, which is getting really annoying. I was thinking about this today. Like one of my pet peeves is like this is just a general pet peeve is when people tell you how tired they are. Now, when I was pregnant, all I did was talk about how tired I was. I was like, God, I've become the people we hate. But also luxury people who like complain about luxury, it irritates me as well. Just like, why are you moaning about it? And Chaos says people complain for content. Yes, they do. You're getting like right there, and it's and because it's a quiet time. You know, for example, there's a friend of mine who asked me like, is if there's a full blown recession, what happens to the content on my channel? I said I'm going to post the things I want to post. Okay, is there a full blown recession? No. I remember 2008. Who remembers 2008? Because I do. I was like going to do my master's. Okay, when the day Lehman Brothers like went bankrupt, that day, and the day Bear Stearns got sold, I remember those days. Those were like days that were like seared into the memory of my brain. What is happening now is like 0.05% of 2008. So I need people, you know, to like not talk about 2008. Like 2008 was a real recession. This is child's play compared to what happened in 2008. Paladon says, I agree, NKS. I remember 2008. Well, Loverback says, me 2008. Yeah, 2008. I mean, 2008 was insane. Literally, banks were melting, literally being melted to the ground. And there's like a mutant Lisa Simpson and a mutant Bart looking at the world melted down. Well, Loverback says readjustment period is not recession. Yeah, it's definitely not a global recession. That's for sure. Like 2008 was like a global recession, but like I think that, like I said, you know, before, without sounding repetitive, you know, people are trying to survive when, particularly content creators who, the way they make money is suggesting for you to buy things. So if you as an audience member are not buying expensive things, the person who has the ability to shop expensive things wants to be relatable and wants to, you know, promote things that lots of people can afford to buy. And for me, it's just like, I like affordable things, but I don't want you to like sit there and tell me about affordable things when I know that you wouldn't buy them. Like, I think that there needs to be some sincerity here. Diva, hello Diva, beautiful. What about everything made in China debate videos? Oh, okay. I had just mentioned what I thought about it, but let me just quickly tell you again. I'll just quickly summarize what I think. I don't think that those videos are, that idea that everything is made in China is a sincere point of view, because number one, if things are made in China, that's not a problem. People are so focused on where the item is made versus focusing on the artistry and the techniques that are used to make the products, okay? So for me, if something's made in China, that does not bother me at all. What does bother me is the fact that people are misconstruing that every luxury brand operates differently. Hermes make all of, like, not all, but they make the majority of their products are made in France. They do have some products that are made in Vietnam by other artisans as well, but the handbags and all leather goods are made in France. Louis Vuitton have products that are made in France, in Italy, in Spain, and the US. All of Louis Vuitton's exotics are made in Europe. All of Louis Vuitton's crocodilian pieces are made in France, and their ostrich pieces are made in Italy. All of Fendi's fur pieces are made in Rome at their atelier. So every brand makes things differently. For example, Moschino makes all of their clothing in Italy. Okay, they have a factory. I think it's just outside of Milan, and they make it themselves. Like Moschino, for example, don't outsource the making of their clothing. So I think it's really important that if we're going to have this made in China debate, we debate it brand by brand by brand with receipts. Okay, I don't have time to go dig up my WWD subscription to prove that Louis Vuitton makes their exotics in France, but we can go there with the girls if the girls want to go there with me. You know what I mean? Have some things been made in China? Sure, maybe a few years ago, but particularly in Europe, like I think you as a consumer, you can definitely get the brands in trouble if they are like presenting the way things are made. And I know what some people are saying, that some things are made in China and then they're finished with a label in Italy and in France. I don't think that happens for every single brand, and definitely not for some of the brands that I just mentioned. For Loverback says, I'm in the US, and for the last few years, we've experienced high prices in gas, food, travel, and pretty much everything. I don't feel it's any different right now. Right, exactly. And also, you know, the sort of high prices for like these essentials, like you said, like petrol, food, travel, and things like that, people are going to make adjustments the way they think is right for them. So if you are someone who, you know, a lot of people on TikTok are saying like people are cutting back from luxury. Of course, they're brands that are more vulnerable. So like a brand like Burberry and Gucci is probably a little bit more vulnerable to that than say brands like Loro Piana and Hermes and frankly Louis Vuitton. I actually think Louis Vuitton is like the barometer for what is going on in the luxury fashion industry, more so than Hermes, more so than Chanel, because Louis Vuitton, they have so many products and they make so much stuff. So like I said, I think in Q3, we'll see where Louis Vuitton is when they release their results for the third quarter. We'll see like, and I know that while they don't say exactly how much Louis Vuitton itself makes, like normally when the CEO or whatever, when he like leaves his remarks, they'll like let us know how they're doing. But yeah, I mean, things are expensive. Life is expensive, as you said. And if essentials are expensive in your country, wherever you are, people are going to make adjustments for that. Now, there'll be some people who are going to be like, look, I, want to go for example, if we live in a world where like everyone is frugal, yeah, the world will collapse. You need people to go out and buy things. Buying things stimulates the economy, and buying things is actually really important. This reminds me of a comment that I left on this like documentary about like luxury weddings. People I think were feeling really bad about the fact that they didn't have these big luxury weddings. You don't need to have a big luxury wedding. It's fine to go, it's fine to go and have a civil service and just get the documents and sign the papers and get the license, and that's fine. But don't have a go at people who are having a big wedding and spending a ton of money on their wedding. Everyone values different things. And someone was like, I would never spend that much money on a wedding. Me and my husband, we just got married. We spent $100. Okay, but you are not going to spend that money anyway for a wedding because you're already married. Number one. Number two, you obviously don't have the money these people in the documentary have. So why are we having this discussion? Well, Loverback says, I cut back 4 years ago, so it's the same for me. But I also have 2 kids in private college, so I'm poor until they finish, LOL. Yeah, okay. And obviously, if you're putting your kids through school, which is wonderful, obviously, you'd be thinking, about different things. Yeah, and putting kids through like schools, like private schools are expensive, honey, for sure. Like, I have no idea what school my son will go to when he's older, but I just was Googling prices. They are expensive. Diva says, yes, beautiful. I agree. Study fashion doesn't bother me. I was just overwhelmed by all the videos talking about it, flooding my feed. All of a sudden, I was like, okay, what's going on? And again, flooding your feed because it's algorithms kind of forcing people, everyone's churning, but the same people saying that all the luxury brands are made in China are the same people who are going to be going to luxury stores to browse, look around, be inspired for things that they want to buy. The same people who are complaining are the same people who would support these brands. That's why I don't understand people who say they'd rather buy dupes or replicas. You are still supporting the structure of luxury fashion. If you buy a dupe and you buy a replica thinking that you're getting back at Hermes or you're getting back at Louis Vuitton, you are still supporting the structure that keeps these businesses, that keeps these brands in business. That's why I don't understand people who buy replicas or dupes. I genuinely don't understand it. There's nothing wrong with buying them if that's like what you want to do with your money, but I don't understand the people who are like, I'm buying them because I'm getting back on getting back on them kind of thing. And yeah, I agree. Like, the whole made in China thing, I thought it was like this big thing. And then I was like, oh, it's just one of these viral videos that everyone's talking about. And then everyone's going to forget about it in 3 days. I think that if we're going to debate the made in China debate, let's debate it from a position of being intellectually honest and being intellectually fair. If something is made in China, that is not a problem. I would buy something that's made in China. I have no issue with that. My issue is the way it's made. So for example, like with Louis Vuitton's exotics, they have an exotics only atelier where all the crocodilian pieces are made. It's in France. The same way Louis Vuitton make all of the trunks are handmade in Anières, which is Louis Vuitton's hometown as it was, which is a town just outside France. That's the town that he settled in. All of Louis Vuitton's hard-sided pieces are made in Anières. And all of the trunks, like the limousines, are made there. They're not made in China. So that doesn't feed into the narrative. And you can't fight with these people because people are like, oh, you're defending brands. You're defending brands. No, I just want us to be intellectually honest if we're going to have this debate. If you're going to have this debate, you have to be very specific and say which brands. Because if you start saying Louis Vuitton, then I'm going to be like, no, the trunks are made in Anières. No, the crocodile exotics are made in France. No, the ostrich exotics are made in Italy. And if someone's like, oh, it's a Fendi thing. No, Fendi furs are all stitched, in Rome at their atelier. Like, no, it's a Fendi exotics. No, Fendi exotics are all made in Rome. I mean, like, it's just like you can't win with these people. Sometimes like I because I'm like a troll as well. Sometimes I'll bring out like a random fact, just to, throw it out there. For example, like Dior's bags are all like machine made, but there is like hand finishing in the leather pieces. So like the Lady Dior. I asked a Dior essay about this at the Avenue Montaigne the last time I was in France. And she was like, the exotics are completely handmade from start to finish. So all of Dior's exotics, all of them, the python, ostrich pieces, they're all handmade. And then the leather pieces are like machine made with hand finishing. And they're all made in France. But for me, I'm more interested in knowing like the process. I couldn't give a toss if they're made in France or if they're made somewhere else. Like, why are people so like upset about that? There are a lot of things that are made in China that I have in my house, and they're fantastic, and I have nothing against them. For me, it's the way something is made that is more important. I'm more interested in like the provenance of how something is made. To me, it's kind of like the debate of people saying they want things to be handmade, but you don't want to pay for it. People say, I want handmade stuff. Well, there is a brand that makes all of their leather goods are handmade. All of their furniture is handmade. That brand is called Big H. Big H wants you to give her, 42 bands for her crocodile Birkin. It is your decision whether you give her 42 bands in euros. It's your decision if you give her that money. It kind of reminds me like the way people are like complaining about something being really expensive and wanting to be the one who decides how much something is. It's kind of like the Dior thing. I couldn't give a toss that Dior make the book tote for $50 or 50 euros. Capitalism says Dior are allowed to charge what they charge. You can't tell Dior, big Dior, baby, I want you to charge 800 euros for the book tote. Big Dior is going to charge what she wants to charge. You as a consumer have the right to say, I'm going to go and shop and buy the things I want to buy. The bottom line is the people complaining are the same people who want the prestige that these top tier luxury girls give. It's kind of like the Coach debate. And before any of you moan, I have a Tabby. It is one of the most complimented things that I have. People love it. But it's like the Coach thing. People are like, oh, Coach is better. Coach is this. Go enjoy Coach. You don't need to announce it like we're at John F. Kennedy International Airport, honey, in New York. Like we're at London Heathrow, honey. Like we're at Charles de Gaulle in Paris. You don't have to announce it every 5 seconds. Go and enjoy it. Okay? It does my head in. It it does my head in hearing people moan about these things. The same people moaning about the made in China thing are the same people who they will run to Louis Vuitton and go buy themselves something really cute to celebrate their birthday, or to celebrate a promotion, because I can't speak anymore. Ever since I'm having a baby, I've like stopped being able to speak. Ballet says, well said. Yeah, I just had to, have a rant. Hello. Oh, hi, Lucy. So happy I caught your live video. Oh, it's good to see you. I remember you were here on our last live. We had a good time. I'm glad you're here, Lucy. For the love of bags says, I think YouTubers are more careful with purchases because they can't resell as quickly before they would buy and sell a month later. Yeah, and that's another thing, the selling stuff, again, people have the right to Lucy says, what are we talking about? All the pre-order drama. No. We're talking about influencers like purging, their collections and the whole made in China TikTok drama stuff. And yeah, I agree with you that YouTubers can't resell as much. People are not really like on the resale market. I'm very uncomfortable with this idea of buying things with value to resell. I think it really like crushes personal style. Foxy Enigma 78. Hello, welcome. Heard the court case challenging the made in Italy leather came to light. It came from African countries like Nigeria. Court decided on the side of African countries. Now it's genuine leather. Okay, I haven't heard about this. Sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe you can send me a link in a DM. I can read about it. But yeah, so I mean, even with YouTubers in general, right? I think buying things that have value, which is this kind of arbitrary market. A group of people woke up one day and decided that the Birkin was an investment. The Birkin is not an investment. It is a handbag. Okay, I stand by this. Kellys are not investment, Birkins are not investments. They're not. They rely on people all having the same beliefs in order to make them these arbitrary assets. They're not. And I think YouTubers like reselling things in order to like using that money to fund new purchases. That's the only thing that I agree. That's the only thing that we're seeing going away because of the quiet time and luxury now that I agree with. I don't want to see that anymore. I want to see your personal style. Lucy says, exactly. Also, if we're keeping it real, a lot of these bags are not really great resale value. A friend of mine tried to sell her Birkin 25 Togo to a big resale and they rejected it. LOL. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Lucy said they have too many already that aren't selling. They have a ton that are not selling. I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram, but I reposted the Marqueterie Mini Kelly that was on Saclab. I swear that thing was like 49,000 euros. It's now 46K. They're going to need to keep dropping that thing because that is not going to, and if those of you don't know what the Marqueterie Mini Kelly is, it's a Mini Kelly with like a horse like this with the 24 on the jockey. The 24 on the jockey. The 24 is on the horse and it's like a horse like this and it's on the front of the bag. It's in Tadelact. Yeah, I can totally see that things aren't selling. Like if you think about it, if we're going through a quiet time economically, the resale market's the first to like really feel crushed. Because if you have the money in this market to like buy Hermes, you can just go to the store. There'll probably be like even a brand like Hermes that has so much like so many people. For the love of Lucy says they have too many that aren't selling. Right. For the love of bags says so many on the resale market. Lucy says I see a lot of exotics dropping in price too on resale. I agree. The thing is, tariffs might benefit resale market because of prices, at least for the US. Yeah, maybe. Let's see. Let's see how things play out. I mean, exotics are such a niche product. So in a quiet time, if you have the money, if you have like 50 bands, 60 bands for exotics, you should just go to the store. Unless it's like a really unique exotic color that maybe Hermes, for example, isn't producing or Louis Vuitton's not producing right now, unless it's like a specific color. But in a quiet time, in my opinion, you should just go and get the exotic from the boutique. Me personally, if you ask me. Diva says the Birkin's on investment, it's a handbag. Yeah, 100%, man. Yeah, exactly. I just, people say these things because it makes them money. There are a group of people who benefit financially from the idea that the Birkin is an investment. It's not an investment. I don't think you should be able to really be profiting that much off of these things anyway, but that's a discussion for another day. Ballet Dance says the resale websites either decline or give you a low offer. Okay. I saw an Alma on Farfetch. I was just looking the other day. I have a Farfetch like wish list of just putting things on my wish list. And this Alma came up and it was like from 2011. It's very nice. It was the big Alma in Epi and it was in white and it was like $800. So yeah, the resale and the vintage market is down because in a high market, it was the big Alma in white, which isn't, that's not a color that many people like, but it's still an Alma from Louis Vuitton. And it's from 2011. It was in excellent condition. And it was going for $800. Like in a good time, like that would be like what, 2,500. Lucy says, how about all those VIPs that are actually resellers? Exactly. Let's talk about them. They need to be banned. Reselling all their pre-spend. Exactly. Oh my God, I can't. Well, Loverback says, hi, how do you think Europe shopping will be this time around? Less people buying the same. I definitely think like this summer when I go, I'll like be able to see, but I'm in a few like Facebook groups, like where people talk about shopping in Paris and Milan and London. And it seems like the top spenders from the Middle East and Asia are back in those cities because particularly with Europe, high-end luxury shopping in those big cities is based on people's ability to spend from the Middle East and to spend from Asia. And there are a lot of people who are coming back now. So I'm curious to think that I think it's basically leveling off. That's what I think. Lucy says some Americans are saying they're going to shop in Paris instead of the US. It should be very interesting to see like how the brands like decide to price things like moving forward. I think it'll be super interesting. But I mean, people are going to buy things that they want to buy. Like the world could be melting down. Like Big H survived 2008. Chanel survived 2008. Big Monogram survived 2008. 2008, the world was melting down. Okay. I will never forget the day Lehman Brothers went bankrupt. I was in London with a friend who had a job there. Okay. 2008, like Lehman Brothers went bankrupt. Best Stems went bankrupt. Like 2008 was Armageddon. Okay. But somehow Hermes was still there. Van Cleef is still here. Bicarte is still here. Bigucci is still here. The girls are still here. And people are still buying things. Lisa says, I agree. For the Loverback says, yes, I was melting down too, LOL. Yeah. So, I mean, it's yeah. Lucy says, I think the current economic crisis is just going to freeze out spenders who are not passionate, wealthy enough to be shopping. Yes, I agree with you. Like resellers. Yes. It's going to crush the resale. And even right now, like resellers don't have they have a lot of inventory that they can't shift. And like I said, if you have the money for it right now, why would you give it to a reseller? I mean, those of you who are in the States are explaining the political situation, which I understand. But that doesn't, to me anyway, doesn't make sense. I would just take that money, go to the boutique, and you get an experience, you get to build your profile, you probably be invited to things, you be invited to events, you'll be invited to like shows, whether particularly with Hermes, like they like to invite their customers to the store. Louis Vuitton like to do that too. They like to do those things. So I think that now, and this is what I wanted to mention in this video, I think that now this is the time for us who like luxury to double down on our profiles. I think now is the time to double down. And like, I think I mentioned this in my newsletter. I have a newsletter coming. I think I'm going to send it tomorrow, but I had mentioned this in a newsletter a few weeks ago. Now is the time, like if you care about these things, not everyone cares about this stuff, but now is the time to go to like the fashion show and events if you care about these things. So like the cruise shows are coming up. I think they're coming up in May, the cruise collections. Like I think if you have decent spend, you could probably get invited to that. Apples, hi Apples. I'm getting invited to events now. Haha. VIP, here I come. Yeah, now is the time. Now is the time. So I say we should be using this to our advantage. The quiet time, if your favorite brands have less people in the store, pop into the boutique. Easter's next weekend. Pop into the store. I don't know how it works in America, the UK, but in Tanzania, it's a long weekend. Pop into the store on Saturday. And just see the vibes and see the mood and pick something up, or maybe go at the end of the month. because I think now is the time. Like if you care about like fashion week and going to shows and things like that. Apple says, I love saying hi to see what's new. Yeah, exactly. That's a great strategy. Just popping in to see like if there's anything new, if there's anything new to purchase and things like that. Yeah, for sure. So I think, Glamson's like, I think that we can actually take advantage of this situation. And I think the jewelry girls are particularly generous. Brianna, hey, boo-boos. Hey, Brianna. Hi, Han. So I think now is like the time for us to kind of stand out, like those of us who are still interested. I'm really excited this like summer to see like how the European shopping situation is. I hope that London reconsider and bring back their refund, but until they do, like it's more advantageous to shop like in the European Union. But I think there are always going to be people shopping and buying things, so it's like all of these videos and these like rants about made in China are not going to deter the people who like luxury. If you like luxury and you're like me, I'm not a follower. I'm going to go and check things out on my own. Apple says, just got a pick a town last month without asking, just by saying hello to my essay. Oh, wow. What color? What color is the pick a town? That's wonderful. So yeah, like I actually think now is the time not to shop resale unless it's like something really unique. I mean, a 2011 excellent condition Alma from Louis Vuitton is on Farfetch and it was $800 and it's authentic. That thing in a normal market, that thing would be 2,500. Apple says I mentioned it months ago, but there it is in stock in gold. Wow, that's a really great color. It's a really great color. Love that. So yeah, so I think Lucy says a lot of excellent condition Kellys are dirt cheaper at resale right now. Yeah, because like inventory is piling up at resellers. People, like you guys said, are more worried about other things, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now. Full Love Bag says I got offered on Sat a mini garden party in Beton, but I passed. Okay, Beton's a nice color. Lucy says, but people are pretty hesitant to spend with stock market craziness right now. I think people are hesitant to spend, but also I think like I don't know. I think as I'm getting older, I'm having more of like a YOLO mindset. I mean, obviously, no one wants to be living outside on the street. Make sure that your bills are paid. You're not living, that you're not living outside on the street. But I don't want to be like 60 or 70 and enjoy the great things that the world has to offer. I'm going to be 39 this month. I want to enjoy my life now. Life is meant to be lived, and literally, God is my witness. God is my witness in my Scarlett O'Hara voice. I am going to be living it now. Okay, obviously not like I said, it's not 2008. Like having lived through 2008, I'm sorry, no one is going to tell me shit. Like I put this on someone's TikTok. I responded. I was like, I lived through 2008. Like a Gen Z financial TikTok is not going to tell me shit. Lucy says amen to that. What I'm waiting for is travel prices to go down, LOL. I saw something about airlines complaining many empty seats and flight cancellations. I hope that means that they'll adjust their business class prices and first class prices, because I can't travel economy anymore. And now that I have a baby, never. I don't even know how I traveled in economy like before. And then when you get used to traveling business and first, you can't go back. Hell no, economy. You can't go back. People will be mad at me that there's a screaming baby on the plane, but I would tell them to go do one. Lucy said my first fight with my husband was he tried to put me in economy and I said I'm not gonna go. He never made that mistake again. That's amazing. It's so uncomfortable and you arrive feeling exhausted and you don't feel good. I feel like when you travel well, you like get to the hotel and you feel refreshed. This previous trip, the one to Paris in October, like I wasn't allowed to check in early, and I went to stay at like one of the airport. I think I had posted it on my TikTok. I went to stay at one of the airport hotels just for a few hours to catch up on some sleep before heading into Paris, and that was like the best decision I ever made. My husband was like, "It's a waste of money." I was like, I need to rest. Guys, a study has shown that women need more sleep hours than men. Ever since I found this out, I was telling my man about it, and I'm like, we need to rest more. Like, women need to rest. You need to be refreshed. You need to feel good, you know? Because I was like, I'm not going to be walking around Paris for like 8 hours waiting for the hotel to open. Lucy says, haha. Lucy says, it's awful. For the love of bag says, yes, first class. For the love of bag says, we do, lol. Yeah, we do. And like, after I discovered that study, I was like, okay, cool. Like, I never needed a justification for a nanny, but now I really have one. Like, in case anyone wants to say something like, women need more time to rest. We need to rest. So yeah, traveling is, I'm so excited. But yeah, so on this summer I'm going to be going traveling. So I'll have lots of like traveling content and stuff if that's something you guys are interested in. Remember, I told you I don't want to watch people. I don't want to watch people pouring tea into mugs and doing boring stuff. So hopefully, I'll be like fun and stuff, and I'll be like it'll be like fun to watch. But I love traveling, particularly like when the weather's better, because I feel like I always end up going to Europe when it's cold, just because in the final quarter of the year my husband has more time off, so he can join with those trips, although he didn't come last time. For love Texas, I love your travel vlogs. Oh, okay, thanks. Because I just can't watch. I can't deal with some people's videos where they're like, I am pouring tea into a mug right now. I am eating. It's I don't know. It's hard for me. I just can't. I really need to get over it. My dude was like, you need to get over it. And I'm like, I can't. But you know, it is what it is. So yeah, traveling will be fun. I love to travel. Business first. If I can't travel business or first, I'd rather stay home. Like, because you know, sometimes like also when you're at home, you're like comfortable. You know, like in your crib, you'll have like that one room. I feel like everyone in their home has that one room where they're super comfortable. Lucy says, are you planning on ballet dancers laughing? Lucy says, are you planning on hitting up all the Hermes stores in Paris this summer? No. In Paris, I'm only going to Sèvres and Faubourg. I am not going to George Cinq. Girl, George Cinq and me, we do not gel, so it's just time to move on. I'll go to Faubourg and Sèvres, and then I'll film separate videos for each one, and then obviously, if I'm successful, I'll film that too. Brianna says, facts, lol. I'm really particular about the type of car I drive. I'm the same way I travel. Oh my God, same. Like, I need to be comfortable. Like, and like I said, in that room, like in your house, there's like that one room where you're so comfortable. Honestly, if I can't travel business or first, I'd rather just stay home and be comfortable. Lee says, haha, for love of bags says, I've never been to Europe, so I enjoy watching the shopping. Yeah, it's just so much fun, you know, different countries, different cities. Remember, I think, I was in, you know, Paris, and then prior to that, I'd gone to Copenhagen and Berlin. I just really enjoy like different experiences. Apple says, George Cinq has no stock of all categories, really disappointing. What I was really struck about George Cinq is the fact that the essays in you cannot have a private discussion without someone watching or breathing down your neck. Because I think if you saw my story time, I was like trying to speak to the George Cinq essay, and there were like 2 essays in the corner like this. You know? They're like that. They're like watching our conversation, hovering. So if you're like, look, I really want you to help me do this, they're like, no, and then he has to be like, no, I can't help you. Even if he wants to help you, can't help you. Apple says, maybe if you need a little souvenir. Lucy says, we're watching. Lucy says, like to make sure no one gets a bag. Yeah, like to make sure no one gets something. Maybe they have bribery issues, huh? Apple says, yeah, the store is the size of a hallway. That is a good one. And that is very accurate. It's very small. Ballet dancers is watching your lips move. Yeah, seriously. Like, it's really small. And then, like, ballet, because I know you love Louis Vuitton. I mean, the Champs-Élysées Louis Vuitton is fantastic, but there's, like, always a massive queue. So I think looking back, like, I don't like to make appointments, but I'll be making appointments this time around. Because the Louis Vuitton, like, you can't just walk up in there and there's no one standing outside. There's someone standing outside. Like multiple people standing outside, and they close the queue 30 minutes before the store closes. So this summer definitely I'm going to be more organized, and I think being with a young infant will force me to really prioritize my time. So I'll be more, I have an incentive to be very organized with my time, because I probably won't go to the store with him. So I want to make sure that like when I go to the store, I'm like arriving, okay, I have an appointment. Okay, well, not Big H, but like at other places like Louis Vuitton and, like Moschino, Gucci and stuff like that. Like I'll make sure to like book appointments. That way it's just easier. And interestingly, I did see a lady at Louis Vuitton with her baby, and they were very accommodating. I must say, the girls were very accommodating last October when I was pregnant. So I do have a feeling that they're very accommodating if you have a young child. But I just feel like with an infant, it's hard. Like you don't want like your baby to start screaming and crying in the middle of a store, and then you can't like get them settled. It probably would be easier to shop with like an older child, like a 5 or 6 year old child, because you can tell them to like be quiet, don't say anything. But yeah, so like when the essays like at George Sank, it just wasn't a pleasant experience, and I just want to be much better with time and just making sure that I'm being very strategic with my time, and not wasting time doing things that is just a waste of time. So no, I won't be going there, but I'll go to the other two. But yeah, so thanks to you all who tuned in and joined in here. Lucy says, HCO telling us Americans to shop in Paris to avoid tariffs, which also goes against everything they previously told us to stick to our home store. Watch them, like the essays in Paris will be like, go home and shop. The essays in Paris will be like, go home and shop. Apple says once they start napping regularly, it can be a great way to pass the time, hoping your baby likes stroller life. Ha 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 ha. Oh my God. He doesn't sleep. I'm so lucky. Like I can do this live because I have the nanny here today, and she's with him right now. Like it's nighttime. She's here, but like doesn't sleep. So it'll be interesting, but I'll figure it out. But I must say they are accommodating. So I wouldn't feel like weird going into a store with him. No, I'd be fine, because I guess I could just wear him on my front and then just walk in. Lucy says, haha, Apple says, wishing sleep for you, hang in there. There's no sleep. Didn't sleep yesterday. But like I said, I'm so grateful to have the childcare help, because I managed to sleep today. It's just so hard. But to your point, Lucy, about them saying that you should shop in Paris to avoid, they say anything. That does not mean that you should like go to FSH and expect them to like accommodate. Because at FSH they'll be like, no, we can't help. Like, no, guys, we can't help you. We don't have any bags. I was reading the thread on the Purse Forum, the Paris thread, just to see like the mood, to see if anyone's getting any offers and stuff. And someone was told like, we don't have any Birkins or we don't have any iconic bags. We don't have any Birkins or Kellys available. So it's just like straight away, just like shutting people down. It's so funny. Okay. If she says some girl I follow on TikTok just got him a Birkin for Paris. She must have spent a fortune. I think I know the one you're talking about. But her man's Arab and rich AF, so I imagine she spent big. She must have spent 200 stacks for sure. I feel like the Himalayan Birkin is more desirable than the Himalayan Kelly. I think it's just a little bit more desirable. Like if you look at the market, like the way the market reacts whenever someone has like a Himalayan Birkin for sale, I think it's just, they're both desirable, but I think the Himalayan Birkin is a little bit more desirable. So like, I feel like your loyalty at the store just has to be like more significant for that. But yeah, so anyway, glad that you guys all tuned in. I'm going to leave this live up. So please like the video. If you haven't liked it already, please like it. And for Love Back says agree. Yes, definitely much more desirable. So like you have to factor in the pricing for that. But yeah, so please, guys, go check out the live on the main feed. I'm just going to upload it now. And yeah, thanks for tuning in. I have more videos. I'll see you guys back on Instagram if you're there, because I'm going to post a little bit. I think I'm going to post on Instagram now a little bit. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thank you so much. And I'll see you guys next week for the next live. But I have videos coming this week as well. Alice says, thank you. Hi. Okay, thanks, guys. Bye.